Um, okay, Rishi, Prashant, should we start now, please?
I think we should start because the timing, was
Okay, so
fixed
you,
and people have come to
How
start.
much time I can speak till 2, right? 1:30 into 2. 10 minutes I will take this and multimorbid.
you have around
So,
40. Yeah, Rishi, please go on.
yeah, Bodhayan, you are supposed to speak for 45 minutes. If you need more time,
Ha,
you can
ha, ha.
obviously
That
let us
more
know.
time is good. As in more time is good. As in 10
Yes.
minutes is very like just going through the slide and not explaining
Yeah.
much.
So let's say 1:10 we start. You
20,
have
20 minutes.
55 minutes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So let's
Okay.
start.
Okay. Uh, so personalized medicine is my to talk about me. I'm Bodhayan Prasad, and I have passed class 10 in 2006 from Ramakrishna Mission Vidyapit, and we all from there. And currently, I'm doing PhD in Ulster University, and I'm a final year student. And I have worked exclusively on personalized medicine, and I have worked in rheumatoid arthritis extensively. And so I will be discussing rheumatoid arthritis and especially personalized medicine in rheumatoid arthritis. Uh, and we all know that a personalized medicine is something uh, which is a medication given based on a genetic makeup or whatever blood proteins are present in the body and different things. But how it really looks in a clinical setting, because everybody says that, okay, next generation sequencing is there, which can find out what gene is present, and based on it, a drug goes. But how exactly it looks like in current clinical setting can be understood only by an example. And I have chosen a simple example, which I did, and we are working towards inclusion in the current clinical setting. So, so coming to the point, uh, we have developed a next generation AI-based prognostic test for response to anti-TNF therapy in rheumatoid arthritis. That's a big statement, but I will explain it part by part. So what is a prognostic test? Prognostic test is something which is, so there is a difference between prognostic and diagnostic. Diagnostic is something which is done after something has happened. And prognostic is something which is done before something has happened. Say, for example, some patients suffers from rheumatoid arthritis. So doctor does diagnostics. They calculate their RF factor and different things are measured. Say, for example, somebody has a sugar, blood sugar, so doctor measures the sugar level. So that's a diagnostic test. Something has happened, and then you are doing a test. But when you want to predict the future, when you want to know what will happen in the future, something has not done yet. Maybe somebody will become rheumatoid arthritis. Say, for example, you have a gene which will make you diabetic. So that is a prognostic test. Uh, so uh, so in a prognostic, so we have developed an AI based prognostic test. Everybody knows AI, like we have used machine learning, so we call it AI based. So AI based for a prognostic test, and this prognostic test is to predict the response to anti-TNF therapy. So anti-TNF therapy is one of the drug as an anti-TNF. TNF is it's called tumor necrosis factor. So in our body, there are a lot of immune systems. So TNF plays a very important part in our body, as in it's one of the inflammatory biomarker, as in it's something which is a protein which is present in our body, says that speaks about our immune response. So anti-TNF is basically to target those proteins, as in when we take a drug, that drug goes into our body and it actually targets a few protein, and anti-TNF therapy is basically targeting that TNF pathway, which is I don't know if all of you will understand that, but I will explain it in a better way. Uh, so something happens to us, different protein levels in our body changes. So in rheumatoid arthritis, TNF level might be high, and we want to decrease the TNF level in our body. So drug is given to that for that. So that is anti-TNF therapy, and anti-TNF therapy is a very common treatment regime in rheumatoid arthritis. So our what I'm showing here in personalized medicine, which is nothing but seeing different proteins levels or genetic levels, and to predict and to personalize the treatment in case of a patient. So what I have developed in my PhD is basically developed a prognostic test to predict before doing any something which has happened, which is before a person goes to anti-TNF therapy, before a person takes that drug or takes that injection. Anti-TNF can be taken as an injection or a drug. So before somebody has done that, I can predict a person is going to respond or not. So that is in broadly what is happening. I will just pause a minute to speak about us. So I studied in Ulster University, and in UK we have trust. Like unlike in India, where hospitals are mostly privatized, we have Apollo, we have different brands of hospitals, although we have government hospital as well. In UK, everything is public, everything is a government hospital. So there is a trust. So trust in collaboration with our university has created an center called Clinical Translational Research and Innovation Center, which is just next to Altnagelvin Hospital in our place. And this was set up to do R&D with closely with hospital, with doctors, and we work in different disease area like diabetes, CVD, rheumatoid arthritis, mental health, and their interplay in terms of multimorbidity. So I will be touching multimorbidity in my next slide, but just giving a brief that we do work in multimorbidity, and multimorbidity is something which is coming up right now in the market, and it's really a norm. Now let's talk about why do we need personalized medicine. Say for example, think of a, like usually rheumatoid arthritis happens to a woman. Think of some like grandmother or something who suffers from rheumatoid arthritis. And what happens in case of rheumatoid arthritis is you can see the hands, all the bone joints are swollen. As in that person has to live with the pain for like continuous pain, and it doesn't stop. It can reduce, but it doesn't stop. So living with such a pain at an age when you are retired, you want to we don't have tension, like lots of tension has just stopped, but now you are living with rheumatoid arthritis. So imagine living with such a pain, and what happens in to this person when goes to the doctor gives them drugs. And how the drugs currently are given is like drug ones, they start with, say for example, in case of rheumatoid arthritis, this as soon as a person is diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, they give them methotrexate, which is a very common inflammatory drug. So that's the very first line of treatment, as in giving everybody non, but 1/3 of the people don't respond to it. Imagine your life in which 6 months or 3 months is gone, wherein you are taking a medicine and it doesn't work for your body. As in at least 1 in 3 people suffers that. And after that, they when their pain increases at this point of time, when their pain is really high, they go back to doctor and say that, okay, methotrexate is not working. Doctor sees the swollen joints and they say that, okay, it's going really high, the joints are more swollen. Then they started giving them injection, which is anti-TNF, when the pain is quite high. And when they give them anti-TNF treatment, again, 30% of the people respond. 1/3 of the people don't respond. So imagine you are being one of the non-responder. Your pain has not stopped, and it requires 6 months of time for a treatment to know whether a person is responding or not responding. So, and it also happens that 3 months you will respond little bit. Say, for example, your swollen joint will reduce little bit, and again it will swell back. So, so yeah, so that life becomes a mess. So what is happening is doctor is giving one drug, then another drug, then when JAK inhibitor, when anti-TNF doesn't work, then they give them a JAK inhibitor, then B-cell inhibitor, and then trial and error is going on. And because of that, maybe the person who gets treated with anti-TNF treatment, like 2/3 of them has a good life. But what about 1/3 of the people? Their quality of life is really bad. And that shows the need of anti-TNF treatment as in one of the treatment. Another problem is, which is really important, is that cost. Like an injection of anti-TNF treatment cost around 1 lakh rupees. So you're taking an injection of 1 lakh rupees and then you are not responding, as in you are losing a lot of money. Although there might be insurance for some people, but not everybody has insurance. So so the cost is quite high. And say, for example, even in case of trust, where trust pays the money for your anti-TNF treatment, again, if we give a same treatment to everybody and not personalize it, then my budget will go up. And that's what is happening in, say, for example, Northern Trust. Northern Trust, I will just, one of the ways in which how much disease is present in our body, if we try to find out, how the doctor does is, it measures how many joint points are there. So there are 28 joint points in our body. So they will create a score based on this joint, which is known as disease activity, how much disease is active in the body. So disease activity score varies from 0 to 10. So which is based on 28 joint points, and then there are other things as well. But idea is that a value of 3 point, say for example 3, as soon as that disease activity level becomes 3.2, people start giving them anti-TNF therapy, as in which is basically injection to reduce it down. But say, for example, in Northern Trust, which in our case, or maybe in UK region, what is happening is, since the money is quite high, they say that no, not 3.2, let's give them at disease activity level of 5.1. So just because this cost of anti-TNF has become is very high, Northern Trust, even the trust bodies, are what they are doing is, they are saying that no, don't give to lower disease activity people. Let's give them only when they have disease activity of 5.5, 5.1. So you can see that personalized medicine is really important. Personalized medicine is really important when the cost is when cost is more, and also for the quality of life for this patient. So I have summarized this in a small point. I started with numbers because numbers is really important. We say that, okay, you are talking about rheumatoid arthritis, but how many people suffers from rheumatoid arthritis? But let me tell you, 1% of European population, and actually world population, it varies from 1 to 3% based on country to country, and it might be more, but at least 1% of the European population suffers from rheumatoid arthritis, and the cost is quite high. And there and say, for example, in rheumatoid arthritis, a lot of research is going on. I am like different researchers are coming up different drugs for different pathways, but there's no way to personalize this drug. There was no personalization, and that's why it leads to declining health for a patient. So I will give you a brief idea about numbers. So you can see that 750 million population is there in Europe, right? And how many people will have rheumatoid arthritis? 7.5 million people, and 30% don't respond. As you know, 1/3 don't respond. So 1/3 of them will become biologic. So biologic is anti-TNF is a class of drug which is known as biologic. So just another name. So forget about that. It's just this thing that first doctor gives methotrexate as soon as a person is diagnosed, and then people give them anti-TNF. So Humira is a type of anti-TNF. It's a class, like any drug has a generic name and then their brand comes. So Humira is another brand of Abbey. And so you can see that almost 2.5 million people take this Humira drug. And again, 1/3 of don't respond. So say 1 million people in Europe, approximately, it's 0.8 to be precise, but approximately 1 million people in Europe are not responding, having swollen joints and living a life of a health just because there is no personalization. So personalization is not a fancy thing, it's a need of the hour. Even if you see the cost, you can see Humira is it is a $20 billion market. This is the data of 2019. And you can see that this data is of US, and Humira is the highest grossing drug. $20 billion spent on Humira drug. And to give an idea about how much is the cost, you can see that buying 2 dosage, which is enough for a month, cost around $7.5 thousand dollars. And for 6 months of treatment, because a doctor will know a person is responding to treatment only after 6 months. That is a very sad thing, as in after 6 months taking so much, spending so much money, then only doctor will say, okay, this is not working, let's move to JAK inhibitor and other things. And then and if we multiply this for the European population cohort, which is 83333, which is approximately 1 million population, you can see that how much money, 37 million money is used for buying Humira. And then 1/3, like $12 million is just wasted. So why not spend this $12 million in research, finding out what treatment will work on what people, and then personalize it, making a good life for this people who is just just taking treatment, but there's no result. I have compared how a public healthcare system and private healthcare system works. And to be truthful, we always should find out, because Indian people will relate to how their healthcare system is working. UK people will relate to how public healthcare system is relating. I have been traveling to North and South India in last few weeks to find out what is happening, and what is the current regime, how doctor is treating a patient. And I have talked to doctors in US as well. So one of the thing I told you about the Northern Trust, like trust which we have in UK, they use a very high disease activity to give them treatment. As in, when the diseases have become very high, then only the treatment is started, because the cost is very high. But in private healthcare system, they allow it, because you are paying the money. Even if you are at 3.2 level of disease activity, they will say that, okay, you can start the treatment. In private healthcare system, there's one more class of drug. Like say, I talked about TNF inhibitor, anti-TNF or TNF. So anti-TNF and TNF inhibitor, both are same. So you are inhibiting TNF protein in our body. Just like that, there is a JAK pathway in our body. For that also, there is JAK kinase pathway, but that is also inhibited. So there are multiple pathways of immunology, and drugs can target any one of them. So just like anti-TNF, there are drugs for stopping the JAK pathway, which is known as JAK inhibitor. So JAK inhibitor has recently, like this is also one of the treatment of rheumatoid arthritis, but most popular being anti-TNF. This is getting highly popular because the cost is relatively cheaper. It's just 50% less. It's not that cheap. As in, if we say it's a cheaper drug, it sounds wrong, but anti-TNF was too much costly. So a JAK inhibitor is still costly. So JAK inhibitor is 50% less, and but because it has been approved for lower disease activity, now the healthcare systems in northern, say for example, in United Kingdom, they can prescribe people who is having disease activity 3.2 with JAK inhibitor. So but the problem is that doctors are not prescribing JAK inhibitor because they think that there are a lot of side effects of JAK inhibitor, because just because its cost is less, why should I take a drug? We should know, is it effective or not? So what problem with JAK inhibitor, it has a lot of side effects. It has toxicity. Some people have even heart attack. There are cases in which people have taken JAK inhibitor and there is a heart attack. And that's why, but if you come to Indian clinical setting, doctor directly says that we can't follow NICE guideline. NICE guideline is a guideline issued by like community of world doctors to actually be practiced, and in Indian setting they can't follow because there is no trust, no funding body to help to follow. So if a patient can afford a treatment, they take a treatment. If they don't, they don't. So just since JAK inhibitor is a little bit cheaper, doctor in India are extensively right now starting with JAK inhibitor. They give them JAK inhibitor right away. As in, so this is the scenario of private and public healthcare system. So you can see that how doctors in India are behaving, as in they are just giving the drug, cheaper drug, because they are affording it. And in UK, they are not able to prescribe the medication to the patient. So yeah, so I will come back to my conversation with the rheumatoid arthritis consultant. I've talked to around 50 consultants. They all are doing trial and error right now. And they all said that a lot of drugs is coming up, but there's no way to find out which drug is working and not working. And one of the emphasis is that this non-responding patient, which is around 30%, just lose 6 months. And losing 6 months is not enough, because you will go through normal progression of disease. So your disease activity will become 3.2 to 5.1 in those 6 months. And it's not that if you don't put it under control, say for example, you are standing on a knife, and if you don't remove your leg, then your cut will be deeper and deeper, and you do not want that. You want to put the control right away. And that's why, and it's a real cost issue for the third world countries. So coming to RA patient, I talked to RA patient. I was able to talk to very few, and you can see that mostly female. I talked to 5 female and 1 male. And what I found out, they were very shy as in to talk about their health condition, rheumatoid arthritis, because these people are really sufferer. They are very shy. And in India, there is no community of people. In Northern Trust, we call them health and care system. As in, it's not just health, it's a care system as well. They create community. So there is a community called Andhras in UK, which like in India, it's very unorganized, but in UK, they have organized like even at the very admin level, they organize this. And they say that when a patient, one of the representative of Andhras was saying, when patient gets started, okay, they are having pain, they come to the doctor and doctor say, okay, fine, your pain is now increased, so I will give you anti-TNF treatment. So their expectation is very high. Okay, I'm going to take take this medication and I'm going to become a responder. But it's a huge moral downfall for 1/3 of the patient who don't respond. It's a huge, like they come up with huge expectation and they down for. So yeah, so and one thing I will tell you, that Andhras representative that I was talking to has herself taken 20 odd anti-inflammatory drug like anti-TNF, JAK inhibitor, then anti-VSL. Then she found her drug finally. So why should we trial? We need personalized medicine. So I will tell you the pathways, the pathways, and it's a general solution. But I will tell you, once a treatment, the doctor says that, say, for example, a test like prediction of whether a person is going to respond or not, how will it translate in clinical setting? So once you are prescribed, you will just order a blood test, as in you will order a blood test, blood will be taken, it will be analyzed, and the result will be sent to you. So idea is that it's as simple as 1 day or 2 day work to find out if you are going to respond or not. As in, it's not 100%, it is 81% accurate, but still you will find that why to live a life of a non-responder when you can so using this 81% accurate, if you are predicted as, say, for example, our test is 81% accurate. So I will give you a brief idea about what does it mean, how does it translate. So if you calculate 81% accurate with, because it's the accuracy of consisting of both responder and non-responder. So if say, for example, somebody is predicted, say, for example, you go for a test and you are predicted as you are going to respond to the treatment. So how many of them, say, if out of 100, how many of them will respond? It's not 80%. We have a specificity of 87%, which makes it 92% effective. So say, for example, right now, currently, everybody is taking drug, 100 people take drug and 33 people have poor quality of life. In our case, once this 81% accurate test is resulted, if 100 people have been predicted positive for anti-TNF treatment, 92 people will respond, only 8 people will be now, because we can't have 100% accurate results, to be truthful, as maybe in the future, but right now it's one way. But that 33 is now reduced to 8 with you using 81% of accuracy. So yeah, so I'm done with personalized medicine, and I've given insight about the current medical regime in personalized medicine in rheumatoid arthritis. And I want to take up questions for personalized medicine, but maybe Ritesh can say that should I stop here, or another topic which I want to take is multimorbidity. Should I do that and then take question of both, or should I take question for personalized medicine and then do multimorbidity?
So Bodhayan, how much time is left for your remaining session?
It's 20 minutes is left.
Right. So I think we can take questions and then move. You're right that let's keep it relevant. If somebody has some questions, they will remember now rather than going with the new topic.
Yeah.
So we can invite any of the participants to unmute their mic and then put a question.
Bodhayan, I have a question on this. The work you are doing on personalized medicine, your target market initially, is it Europe or India? That's my first question. And the second is, of course, targeted medicine is more relevant and it can be more efficient. But if the target market is, say, for example, India, cost-wise, is it going to work well, or the government will have to provide some kind of subsidy, or how does it work?
Okay. Okay. I will give you an idea. This test is now as in this test is we have just found out biomarker in our test, and any clinical test needs to be validated. So we will be independently validating this result in another cohort, and it will be best if we do it on different ethnicity, as in usually our blood makeup varies because we eat different food compared to Europe. So if our test is validated even in Indian cohort, then it will make sense to use in Indian market first thing. But usually it is usually the case, as in maybe accuracy will reduce, but usually it works, as in people, well, that's one thing to be used in Indian market, because it's not genetic, it's protein, because protein is a highly variable. So if you see our body, there's gene which can't be changed, and then it get translated into RNA, and then from RNA protein comes. That's the central dogma. And protein is highly variable. Our body's protein change based on sugar level. Protein will change based on different things. Protein will change, but our gene will never change. So to be truthful, I am a bit skeptic about as in it might be more accurate in Indian setting. That is also possible. Less accurate. So we will validating that for Indian cohort. For UK cohort as well, we will validate this result, and we are already in process of validating this result with Scotland population in January. So that is another thing. About the cost and about implementation, this is simple blood test. Just you go to hospital, you have a blood test, right? Within a day you will find out, and it takes, like, if I make it a kit and everything, it will cost around 5,000 rupees. But if it's normal blood test, it will be less than 1,000 rupees. So it's a very cheap start with. And it is, this type of test is called companion diagnostic. Diagnostic word is used, but it's prognostic, but people call it generally diagnostic per se. So companion diagnostic, as in, say for example, Humira will say that Humira might want to include our product because right now their efficacy is 67%, because 33% non-responder. If they include our test into their product, they will say that, okay, this is a drug and this is a companion diagnostic. So my accuracy is now 92%. They will directly say, I'm not 67%, I'm 92%. So that is also possible. We can license it out to them, and this they can directly provide it as a test. And because this cost around less than 1,000, that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, Humira is not being prescribed in India. They are using JAK inhibitor, and JAK inhibitor is cheaper, but it has a lot of side effects. So and all the patients, all the doctors in trust, like say for example in Great Britain, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, they all are saying that I'm skeptic about JAK inhibitor. We don't want to prescribe JAK inhibitor to start with, although we do prescribe to some of them, like 10% is the patient to which they prescribe JAK inhibitor, but not all. And 10 prescribe because this anti-TNF will, say for example, when you take a drug, people say that if you are on medication, COVID will happen like very easily, right? Because your immune system is suppressed. Your immune system doesn't work very well. So if you take Humira, your immune system will be suppressed much higher. So that's why a person whose immune system is very lower, a clinician in Northern Ireland will prescribe JAK inhibitor, which doesn't suppresses your immune system much, but it also put you in different other, like there are trade-offs. So so 10% do get prescribed JAK inhibitor in UK setting right now, but again, it's all about, so how it will get translated there. I don't think so it requires any funding. It's a less than 1,000 rupees test, and it's really need, like, why to suffer such a bad disease condition for 6 months for every drug, which is very sad, and then take a treatment. Yeah, I think I was able to or not, I don't know, but you can say.
Thank you.
Hey, Bodhayan, I have another question about RA. So I was interested to know how much open data is available about RA specifically, because maybe the trusts publish some data which is generally open and affordable price to the general public.
Okay. Okay. So how much openly available data is there in this?
Yeah.
So I will start with saying that how medication as in how, so say for example in Indian setting, hospital says that these are the drugs which is eligible to be prescribed, as is usually the class of drug, not the generic drug. They always have all the class of drug, as in but in trust what happens is they have commissioning group which is coming to an end in March 2022, but I will give you a brief idea about that. So say for example a commissioning, so a fund is allocated for each trust. So Northern Ireland will have like $20 billion or whatever, 20 million pounds, something. Now trust will see that how much medication is cost. So anti-TNF treatment 1 million is 1 million is given to anti-TNF. So they will have all those list of drugs, right? And based on that, they will say, okay, now we need to reduce using this medication, anti-TNF. So how they will reduce is they will increase the anti-TNF level. So all these reports are being published year on year in Trust website. So data are public in terms of how different commissioning groups are coming up with the ways to optimize the cost that they have. So they optimize because the trust bears the cost and they publish it. So and as far as our research is concerned, in order to take this data, this blood and all those things, we go through ethical approval, and then we will collaborate with doctors. So Philip Gardner was the doctor with whom we worked. He's a renowned doctor and he's just retired, but he works part-time right now. So whenever he used to see the patient, he used to introduce them to us, saying that, okay, if you want to help in the study so that this thing doesn't happen, you give your blood for research and all, and there are people who will agree to it. So over a year, we were able to recruit around 250 patients over a year. And it takes time to recruit patient. 250 is a good number, to be truthful, and we were able to collect drug, and once we have everything, we collect everything, and there all these information is anonymized because we don't want to. There's a rule, Human Tissue Act 2004 in UK, wherein we can't public. And anybody can remove the consent as well. As in, say for example, there is a UK biobank data in UK wherein all the genetic data of 500,000 patients is available. But suddenly you will find me email that, okay, some of the patient has removed their consent. So now this many gene. So data is open, to be truthful, in UK. About India is very unorganized. It's only upon us or any researcher to find out data and publish it. So it's really unorganized. Pharmaceutical company will publish, okay, how this much drug is released, but they will not release how much. So usually at initial point of time, so how I'm saying that 33% is non-responder. If you take out any anti-TNF response predictor test, any paper will contain that this much were responding to treatment, this much, all the people will say 33% non-response. So that's how I came up to the number 33%. Even in our research, we have 89 patients, which is around 90 after doing, like we have to do quality control and all. So 30 were non-responder and 60 were responder. So 60-30. So data size is really small. We need to validate it, and everybody needs to validate it before it can come to the market. And so we are in process of acquiring 100 samples again in Scotland. But so idea is that once we have that, we will publish that, and we will publish those data saying that, okay, these were 100 people, these were this many people. And to give an idea about sample size, there is an anti-TNF treatment which is public, which is Prism RA. Maybe I can show you guys the website. Prism RA. So yeah, and if you see their website, they started with 58 people. Their first level test, as in if you read this first paper, their first cohort was only 58 samples, 58 patients, and the second cohort was 150. So yeah, so our first cohort is 100, but second cohort we are, which is again 100. We are yet to get that. So you can see that they are saying clinical validation, as in they are validating the predictive test which they have independently worked molecular signature response. So they have created this response, we created this, but they have not validated. Their test results is 89%. They have a predicting value of 89%. So if they predict 100 patient as the responder, then 89 of them will respond, 11 will still be non-responder. So we are able to get 92%, maybe because of the sample size, but yeah. So I think I briefly touched on how the data is open and closed. Anything else? Or are they able to?
Thanks a lot, Bodhayan. Nothing
Okay.
else.
Okay, so should I start multimorbidity? As in, it won't take much time, but it's a really important thing which I would like to speak about. And I think I should start. It's already time. So multimorbidity, I think I've already opened it. Okay, so what is multimorbidity? And so I will give you this. I started with this research in UK. I got really interesting. So what is happening? A patient, say for example, an old patient comes to the doctor. She has cardiovascular problems. She has, say, a rheumatoid arthritis problem. So she comes to the doctor, and what happens is that since he has two diseases, she goes to this doctor, and then she goes to this doctor. So they have medication. She has medication based on rheumatoid arthritis. She has medication based on cardiovascular disease. So she is on treatment, multiple treatments. And this treatment often interact. And to be truthful, lots of doctors do learn about, like we do get flagged doctors know, okay, doctor do ask, say for example, they are giving medication, okay, you are seeing any other specialist? They will say, okay, okay, don't take this drug, take this drug. But there are a lot of information which is hidden. Say, for example, after a long time seeing so different adverse event is reported in FDA. So seeing the adverse event, people found out that one of the statin is basically heart drug. Statin interacts with another hyperlipidemia drug. There was another drug, I forgot the name, pravastatin and hyperlipidemia drug. These two drugs were interacting with each other and creating a sugar level increase in the body. So these two drugs were actually making a patient more diabetic. So people were unaware of this thing. So a lot of things is happening, because what is happening right now is, earlier we used to live like 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, but right now we live like 90 years, at least 100 years. So since we live such a long year, because doctors are able to save, medical technology able to do that, we are living with multiple disease, and that is called multimorbidity. Morbid means disease, condition. So multimorbidity, multiple chronic conditions. So you are living with arthritis as well as cardiovascular disease. So although we are living a longer life, but we are living a life of a zombie after 40 years of age, because most of the people at the age of 40 are suffering from a couple of diseases. And one of diseases is diabetes. Everybody knows that everybody suffers from diabetes, and then they get complications like heart disease or something like that. So there is a huge problem in seeing individually, as in you are not seeing the interaction, not seeing the quality of life of this patient. So what you need to do is you need to see them together. You need to manage the thing together. And to give a brief example about this, uh, say for example, you go to a doctor, you say that, okay, I have this uneasiness, that thing, and there are three things doctor can do, and I will give you precise meaning of what three things. One is, say for example, you are having pain, right? So they can give you a painkiller, so it will relieve you from symptoms. So one thing is relieving from symptom, which is something people say that's not good, but relieving from system is really required for certain, so if it is too much of pain, say for example, kidney stone or something, they will give you painkillers, because you can't live with that pain. And that painkiller will actually interact with your kidney and other thing. It will really reduce the life of your kidney and all those things. So that is one thing. They can relieve you of symptom. That is first thing. Second thing is that they can give you a drug based on that you live longer life, as in basically the trade-off between the other two, which is function and longer life. Say for example, you might be bedridden, but you will live 120 years. Do you want that, or you want to live only 60 years, 70 years, or till the age you want to live? You should move. You should go to, say for example, a grandparent with there. I always want to go with my grandkids to church or mandir or anywhere, but I want to be functional. I don't want to be bedridden. So because there are multiple treatments, what is happening is this symptom, longevity, and functionality, these three things are getting trade-off, as in doctors can either make this or that. And how doctor decides which drugs to give it to you? Did they do it on their own? So so I will start about how the diseases are interrelated. If you see right at the genetic level, you can see that different gene like mIDRNA, cDNA, epigenetic mark, all those interact with each other. Then coming one level up, biologic level, the immunity system, your aging, bioenergetics, all those oxidative, all those interact with, because oxidative stress will interact with immunity. Clinical level, when you see diseases like CVD, COPD, they also interact with each other. You can see that CVD is highly related, COPD is quite common, it's also related to a lot of disease. And environmental level, again, infection, like we all are courses since current COVID dynamics, you can see that allergen, temperature, smoking, all those, because of smoking you can get infection. So everything is connected. Our whole system, our whole body is connected. But what is happening is we are not looking at current clinical setting. They are using just one disease model, like one disease at a time, one disease at a time. So one is an index disease and another is like comorbidity. So you go for one index disease and one comorbidity. So there is a push in the market saying that, okay, we need to see them. So there is a concept of primary care and secondary care. I don't know if you guys like in UK setting, people say about that. So primary care is where we have GPs in UK, as in general practitioner. You go to a doctor, say for example, local physician, general physician, and that person says that, okay, fine, I refer you to, since you're having heart attack, I refer you to rheumatoid arthritis doctor, and I refer you to heart specialist. So then you go to secondary care, wherein you meet specialists, right? So meet specialist, and then the secondary care doctor sees one drug. But in primary care, doctor sees overall. So our stress is to make this primary care doctor, although we can't get rid of this secondary care, as in we require this, but primary care doctor to get involved more, as in people, you don't go back to GP. Once you go to specialist, you stick with specialist. But this we want to make this primary care doctor more equipped, so that he can say you, okay, this has prescribed this has prescribed this, do this way, that way, so that he can see it overall. So in primary care setting itself, something needs to be changed. So this is what I'm talking about when I speak about multimorbidity. When they say multimorbidity and the other word comorbidity is when you hear about comorbidity, it's basically something which is generally practiced. They will say, okay, fine, you have diabetes, you are you have rheumatoid arthritis, you are comorbid with diabetes. So it's a language of a specialist. But for a multimorbidity setting, when people start talking about okay, I'm multimorbid with diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis, so then the general practitioner will come to it. So there are very limited research in this field. And one of the thing I will say, one of the thing which is common in all the chronic condition is chronic inflammation. Like you have inflammation, and this inflammation can happen through, I talked about JAK inhibitor, right? So JAK pathway is there. So a lot of pathways are there, all are connected, and all disease can happen through any of these pathway. So there is really need to so how do we start? As in, this is my last statement in multimorbidity, and then I will be done. How do we start such a treatment of patient? Can only happen through stratified medicine. So say example, what we do is we based on drug, we are stratifying the patient. Stratifying means dividing the patient into groups. So rather than based on drugs, if we can stratify patient based on disease groups, say for example, these are this disease group, these are that disease group. So based on that, if we stratify patients, so for example, these are the people having diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis, these are the people having, say for example, CVD and RA, and these are the people who are having CVD and diabetes. So, and then you are seeing this cohort as a group, and this cohort as a group, this cohort as a group. Then only our medical system will change, if we stratify a patient like that. And because of and even the drugs, say for example, when a clinical trial happens, there's a rule that if you are doing a clinical trial on a rheumatoid arthritis drug, give it to patients suffering from rheumatoid arthritis only. So you don't know whether the drug will actually work on your case, in which you can, and comorbidity is a norm. Everybody is comorbid and after the age of 40, and that's a huge population. So if I'm taking a drug which has been tested only on single disease people, am I taking the right drug? Is the system doing good? So that's the question. As a research scientist, will always stick to one disease and create good numbers in terms of their efficacy and all, but because they don't want to dilute it, they will not do it. But we need such kind of trials. We need such kind of stratification. We need to cluster this patient into different disease groups. And I'm working on clustering patient into different disease group based on their disease activity in UK Biobank. And we are seeing clusters, and it's not straightforward, but we are seeing clusters. So that's the problem of multimorbidity, and that's something which is right now the need after personalized medicine. So I think I'm done. Rest of the things is it's not important, but this is the important thing which one should think about when going to specialist. Now, any question in multimorbidity? I don't know if I was able to explain it correctly or not, but this is the diagram I wanted to emphasize. Are you guys there, or like I lost the connection?
We are here.
I just wanted to make you guys aware of multimorbidity word, because this word is rare, but this is the norm. So that's why I wanted to show you guys about this thing. Maybe. So I'm done about multimorbidity. If you guys have any questions, you can ask. So usually it is said that when questions are being asked, then people have understood. So I think I wasn't successful in speaking about multimorbidity. I will make it simpler. Yeah.
No, Bodhayan, the thing is, one of the ideas of the Adda is we want this place to be a fountainhead of knowledge and show the alumni and the students that we have lots of diverse talent. So of course, I only understand a small part of it, but the keywords like stratified medicine, I had no clue what it is about and how it can be useful to our society. I didn't know about multimodal medicine, which you explained. Though I am not an expert, but if someone in my family, friends, or neighborhood, would like to know more about this, I know the resource person, that is Bodhayan. And I say, I know a person who has worked on it, and you want to know more, have a career, or just academic interest, why don't you go to Bodhayan? So, but of course, in our group, there are some doctors, some researchers, they understand more of it. The benefit to them is you are working in this field, so they get exactly what's going on now. So please don't feel remorseful that it was difficult. It has various other, you know, uh, benefits, which I tried to explain it to you. And thanks for sharing this. I will leave it to Rishi if he wants to take any questions or he wants to close this session with a thanks.
Now, I'd like to add one thing, as in since you mentioned about personalized and stratified medicine, and I use the three words in our in introduction because there is a difference, but it's not difference. It's used interchangeably, but there is a difference in terms of say, for example, the technique. So I start with stratified medicine. So stratified medicine is what we are doing is we are stratifying the patients. Stratifying means grouping the patients. So for example, in UK, we are stratifying the patient into, say, for example, two groups and creating separate, say, for example, rheumatoid arthritis patient is coming. I'm stratifying patient into two groups saying that, okay, give them, this is the treatment line for this particular patient group, and this is the treatment line for this particular group, right? And another extreme is precision medicine, which is like extreme wherein I will see you, this drug is only going to work on you only, none others. Like that is the kind of precision I'm moving forward. So stratified has very less precision because you are dividing it into two groups, broadly two groups, 100 of people, but precision medicine will have just one. Like it's highly personalized because of you have just this mutation. So only you have this mutation. So this is the drug for you. And then personalized medicine is just in between the two. So although it is used invariably, which is basically to have multiple treatment online for a particular disease condition, but there is a subtle difference, but although it's used interchangeably. So UK people use stratified medicine because they want to stratify. America uses precision medicine, personalized medicine, because they want to say that I'm personalizing. So there's a cultural difference between the two.
But then, just on another note, I see the name of Dr. Priyank Shukla on your slide, right?
Yeah, he's my
Most
supervisor.
Okay, most probably he was my roommate in Delhi Public School, Mathura Road, if you can confirm with him.
Oh,
Is he from,
okay.
is he from Uttar Pradesh near
Yeah,
Kanpur
yeah,
or
yeah,
where?
yeah, yeah. From his place is H, something from H. He's
Yes, from the sugar belt.
yeah,
So
his
most probably, but you need to confirm.
okay,
We
okay.
studied, we were in the same, we shared dormitory for 2 years in our school.
Okay, I have the pics, right?
Yeah, I looked at the picture. Most probably it's him. At that time, he used to have glasses. Yeah, looks like it's him. Yeah. But please confirm.
Okay, yeah, that's a good thing. As in, it's good that I kept this name because of that. You guys are able to say,
Yeah. So
because
see,
this is
there is
coming
another
from my.
benefit to it.
This slides are coming. Multimorbidity is coming from my thesis because my thesis is on multimorbidity, and precision medicine is just a byproduct. But it's a broad thing, which is something which is very personal, which is happening right now in the market. That's why I chose that. Yeah, but multimorbidity is my specialization.
Thanks. Rishi?
So, Bodhayan, we can take the questions if people have so that we can start wrapping up the session. So anybody in the...
Bodhayan, this is Balaji. I don't have a question, but generally about this session, I mean, a little bit tough for laymen like us. But I remember meeting you in NCR reunion probably 10, 12 years ago. And it is, I mean, it's a matter of great satisfaction and happiness that जो लोग पहले लगते थे कि अच्छा ये तो अभी बच्चे हैं, they are doing such advanced research and all that. So it's a really matter of pride for all of us. So I felt really good that you're doing such advanced research in medicine.
Thank you. I remember as in Europe, I came late and I met you guys. Yeah, in Europe, it's Europa or something. The name of the place where we met. Yeah, it's a favorite place found out by Pitida in Delhi. Okay.
Anybody else? Madhubda, Sanjay Da, I can see. My friend Anandip is also here from UK. Anand, you want to say something? I think you would have related to it. Honestly, I'm a commerce graduate, so I couldn't understand much. But I think you would have definitely understood every single thing.
Rishi, yeah, I think it was a very interesting presentation, but I was on and off, and yeah, you're in a related field. It's wonderful to see the choice of learning you take. So maybe in some other forum we can connect and do something together. And you're in Ireland, yeah, I'm in Birmingham. So good.
I'm coming back to Ireland on 1st of, right now in India. I will be back to Ireland on 1st of October.
Oh, that's
Northern
good.
Ireland.
Yeah, that's good. No, wonderful. Thank you for arranging. I think these are super interesting stuff. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks Anand. मधुबदा, आप हमारे एक स्पीकर हो, मैं एक्सपेक्ट करूंगा कि आप जरूर कुछ कमेंट करो अपने एकदम स्टैटिस्टिकल दिमाग से. आपका जूनियर बोल के खत्म किया, कुछ तो बोलो आप. मधुबदा का अनम्यूट नहीं हो रहा है मेरे को लगता है. Last speaker, Bodhayan, was Madhubda, and we had a great session where some budding entrepreneurs also connected with him on Stats, and he has his own company, just like you. You have also put your own company now, right?
Yeah.
So what exactly do you do?
Even we are trying to put up another companies in personalized medicine, which we have used as miai.bio. If you just go to miai.bio, and so this is the work we are doing, and you can see my name. I am these are the infos, and there is a small anime. It's 1 minute. Should I play? So
Yeah, sure, play it.
Okay. I don't know if volume is good.
Meet Jack and Jill. They've been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis and treated with conventional drugs, but the pain in their joints is not improving. Their doctor suggests a costly anti-TNF treatment, but informs them that only 2 in 3 patients respond to this treatment. Jack decides to go through the treatment for 6 months, but there is no improvement in the pain in his joints. Jill, on the other hand, found ATR-PRED, an AI-based prognostic test developed at Ulster University that can identify a patient's response to anti-TNF therapy with 81% accuracy. She decides to take this test before going through with the anti-TNF treatment. She was predicted as a non-responder by ATR-PRED. After consulting with the doctor, an alternative treatment pathway was decided. Her pain is now under control. ATR-PRED cuts treatment cost, saves time, and improves the quality of life of patients. My AI, building intelligent decisions for a healthier future.
Very nice, Bodhayan. Very simple and very, clearly done.
I wrote the script and
वाह, तो तुम्हारे अंदर फिल्म मेकर भी है इसका मतलब.
No, I just wrote the script. I didn't wrote, but it was a little bit modified and then made into video by professional.
Right, but it's very well done.
Yeah, but idea is that we are applying for a funding from Innovate UK. It's a funding body in UK. They will once if we are successful, actually options roundabout is on 9th of September. So I was little bit so it's just 5 days round where I'm presenting my ATR-PRED to these people, and these people will then make me if we are successful, they will give us 300,000 pounds, so which is a good amount to start with. But yeah, so let's see if it is successful.
Wonderful. Yeah, all our wishes to you. And on the same note, I would like to thank you on the behalf of entire Praktani for taking time out and giving us your input on a very relevant topic. In fact, when we had shared your announcement, few people from US who are in my batch, they actually commented that you should change the timing of Praktani Adda, because it is not feasible for us to attend at that hour when the topic is also so interesting. So I've asked Rideshda to take it up, and we may come out with a new time which can which can attract more audience from abroad, whether it is Europe or US, because people of that side found your topic very relevant compared to India. And that's how we realized that maybe we need to just adjust our timing, which has been running since beginning. So anyway, we will again share your video on the YouTube video that we have for our Praktani, and then people who have missed your session will see there, and obviously they will connect with you. We will put your email, LinkedIn is anyway there, and then we take it from there. So thanks once again for taking time out. We will definitely engage with you again in future, and whatever you have suggestions, recommendation for Praktani Adda, you can coordinate with Rideshda in future also.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to talk to you guys. I tried to be as simple as possible, and but it was a good experience.
You cannot go beyond a limit to simplify, right? You already did whatever, like Balada said, Balada, people like us who are not from this technical field, we may find it difficult to understand fully, but at least we got the gist, and you were so involved that it was quite connecting to understand what you are up to. So we will give your best wishes for your presentations. Hope you get all that big money that you're talking about, which can make a huge difference. And then we connect again.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks all.
Okay. So thank you everybody in the audience. We connect again in the next edition, which is on 18th September. Rideshda, can you just tell everybody what is it about?
Yeah, so one of our, again, Balaji does batchmate, Dr. Debashish Das. He's going to speak. Yeah, Das, yeah. So he hasn't given us a final topic yet, but he's a cardio surgeon. So it will be related to, again, medical field. And among our audience is Sanjay Da. Sanjay Da is based in Kolkata, and he is again a doctor he specializes in gastrointestinal medicine. He will be speaking next year, April. So thank you, Sanjay Da. We wanted to thank you personally for this. So we have quite a few doctors from different fields. So Bodhayan, these are your target, people who you may be in future if you work on something else, or I think we got connected to two rheumatologists from our alumni with you, right?
And I remember Tuhin Reda, he actually said that you can come to our hospital and do a validation in our own cohort. He was very enthusiastic. And I'm pitching that also so that we can do it in Indian setting and release it in the market.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bodhayan, one small question. Bodhayan, are you on our WhatsApp group, medical WhatsApp group?
I am there, yeah. And
Achha, you are there. Okay, good.
That's the good thing about networking. So what happened, Balaji da, few months back, Bodhayan said, Ritesh da, I'm looking for 2 rheumatologists in our medical fraternity. I said, yeah, we have registered doctors in the list. I can see 2 doctors. So why don't you contact them? And that's how, he contacted and this came up, this networking.
That's nice.
So yeah, that's the wonder of Adda and our Europe group and doctors group. So it has worked well till now.
So when Bodhayan is able to successfully raise fund, we can really announce it on our website. The first big announcement.
Yeah. And
obviously, after that announcement, Bodhayan will make a huge donation to Vidyapit also.
yes.
Not Vidyapit. We want him to donate to Vidyapit Praktani first.
Praktani is always my priority. Praktani is always my priority.
Bodhayan, just for your information, it may be useful to you. Anirban Sadhuda, he is based in Switzerland. He is on a management side in Abbott. So I don't know whether this information could be helpful for your research, or I don't know. This is not my field, but he's a very on the management side. He's a decision maker for many things. So
And
he's in our group.
that will be really helpful because this can be used as a companion diagnostic. I talked about, like, any pharmaceutical company can have this as a companion diagnostic. So yeah, so if you can connect me to him, maybe after this meeting, it will be really helpful.
He's already in our Europe group. You will see the name, and you can directly connect him. Anyway, I will send you again his email and contact number. Thanks.
Thank you.
So on that note, we close this wonderful session. Thank you everybody for coming again on Saturday afternoon. We catch up again in the next session. Bye-bye. Have a good day and a good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Video stop हो गया recording.